Hello, third graders. So today we're going to start talking about what's called china plates. And how we're going to start talking about them is we're going to do a method called CRP, or Critical Response Protocol, which just basically means that we're going to talk about art by answering questions, right? So the first thing I have to ask for you in these 5 questions is, what do you notice? With CRP, just remember that there are no wrong answers at all. So the first question is, what do you notice? Maybe, sorry friends, maybe you notice something about the colors or what's inside of it. The second question is, what does this remind you of? What does this remind you of? Does it remind you of home? Does it remind you of someplace else? What does it remind you of? The third question is, how does this make you feel? Do you feel happier when you look at this? Do you feel sad? What do you feel while you look at this? Fourth question is, what questions do you have about this? What questions do you have about this? Are you wondering what's inside the plate? Are you wondering about the colors? What is it that you're wondering about? Then the fifth question is, why do you think this was made? Why do you think this was made? Do you think it was made for a purpose? Do you think that it was made to be for something? Why do you think it was made? And that's our 5 questions today. I'd like you to post a video of yourself answering these questions. Remember, the questions are, what do you notice? What does this remind you of? How does this make you feel? What questions do you have? And why was this made? Please put that on Seesaw, and then we'll talk about it all tomorrow. Bye, friends. All right, so we are going to talk about what we're actually learning about, which is china plates. Now, china plates have a lot of purposes to them, and we're going to kind of go over some of the questions. Now, I know that everybody notices something different, so I'm not going to go over that question. To me, here's some history about china plates. So china plates obviously come from China, and their original purpose was to kind of show wealth, right? So these were made out of a really special clay called porcelain. And porcelain is really, really hard to make, especially when they were first making these, because it was really, really fragile, right? And it had to be made out of the purest clay possible. So when we think about clay in general, usually it's gray or it's brown or it's red, right? But this clay was white, and it was pure white. So when it first comes out in this plate, it's all white at first. And then what they do is they use a special glaze, which just means it's a special paint, in order to paint it blue. And the reason why they used blue most of the time is because it was really expensive to use this type of blue, right? So the whole purpose of this was to just show that you had a lot of money, right? And so what happened was, a lot of people over in England, way back in the day, thought these plates were just gorgeous. And so they thought, you know what, I'm gonna buy some plates of my own, and I'm gonna show everybody how wealthy I am and how I was able to buy something all the way from China. This was when it was really, really hard to get things from China, right? So what happened is, people in China, they usually took a horse and a buggy, which is just kind of like a horse and carriage, right? And they put all these plates in there that were made by these artists, and they drove them all down to England, which, by the way, is on an island. So then they had to put them on a boat in order to get there. So that made them even more expensive, because it just took so long for all of the plates to kind of arrive, right? So it took a really long time just for people to get plates, right? So that is what we learned today about our different china plates. So what I want you guys to do today is, I want you to make a video describing anything that you just learned from there. Maybe you learned where they came from, who got them a lot. Maybe you learned why they always used blue or why they were especially white, right? Maybe you learned about porcelain, right? So tell me in your video what exactly you learned and why that story is kind of important to you, all right? And that's all we're going to be doing today. All right. Bye, friends. All right, so in front of me, I have this cool china plate that I made. It's made out of paper. And you guys are going to be making your very own china plate, all right? Now, if you notice on mine, I did use all blue, which if we just use one color, excuse me, if we just use one color, that means it's monochromatic, right? However, we did talk a little bit that sometimes they used a couple different other colors, and this was just to show wealth and money, right? So I have my blank piece of paper here. Now, I understand that a lot of you guys, you don't have paper at home, and that's okay. Now, here's a really cool thing that we can do on our iPads, especially on Sketchbook. So Sketchbook, if you open that up, there is a really awesome tool. Let's see if I can go and maybe have a new document here. Oh, hold on, friends, sorry. And what I can do is I can go and draw a circle or an oval using that tool, which is just this one up here that has the box and then also the circle. Another thing I can do is I can touch the one next to it. That's all about symmetry, which is basically just trying to make a circle from it. And what I can do is I can make sections, right? And this is radial, which just means it's going to create a circle, and I can go in the center of that if I want everything to be even. How cool is that? I love that. So if you want to use Sketchbook for this, that's totally cool. I think that it would be really fun if you use Sketchbook for this. But let's say that we're going to use paper, okay? So what we're first going to do is we're going to draw a circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just try your best to make the circle as big as you can, that you can go and draw lots of different things in it. If you do make a mistake, guess what? Happy accidents, right? We can go ahead and just erase that and make it even nicer. Now, the awesome part about this is we're going to make two circles in one, okay? So we have one circle on our outside and then one circle on the inside, okay? And that's kind of to show the inside of the plate. This is the outside of the plate, right? And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of create a story in the center. The awesome part about these china plates is in the middle, they always told the story, or they told where they were living, kind of different things. And then the back, the border, which is around the center, was all about details. Now a border is what we call when there is kind of like a picture frame around the picture itself. And this is called a scene, which is why it is the picture, okay? Border, scene, border, scene. Picture frame, picture, picture frame, picture, border, scene. Got it? So with my scene or my picture, I'm going to draw something about my life, something about maybe where I've been to before, anything like that. So maybe what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw my house. It's not gonna be great, but I'm doing my best, and I have my driveway here, and I got the trees next to it, okay? And then, you know, I want to draw my garage maybe here. And then, you know, I really like the idea of having clouds in the background. A lot of the china plates, if you look through, have lots of different clouds. So I'm going to draw some clouds there. And, you know, if you want to, you can draw people if you like. Doesn't matter. Now I'm going to draw the border and have like a fun little detail around it. So I'm maybe going to do some lines. Maybe I want to do you know, like flowers around it. You know, if I was talking about one of my favorite place or my family, maybe I'm gonna draw things that my family really likes to do together, right? Or maybe I'll draw flowers in a place that I've visited before and I really enjoy, right? This is where you guys get to be creative. You don't have to look like everybody else's or even look like how old china plates used to look like, right? I like to always do dots. A lot of dots happened in china plates, and also flowers too have been in china plates as well. And you know, I'll just kind of do a couple more dots. I kind of like that idea. And that's all we're doing today, right? We are just drawing the border or our picture frame, right? Which is having all the details. And then we're also going to be drawing our picture or our scene, okay? And that's all we're doing today. And your scene can be anything about you, your family, or somewhere you love to go to, okay? And that's all we're doing. So please post that onto Seesaw. You can do it on paper, like I said, or you can use that awesome sketchbook app, all right? And I hope to see you all soon. Hello, bye, friends. So this is where you guys get to make a fun decision. Now, originally, like I said, china plates are usually just one color, meaning monochromatic, right? However, you guys can make the choice of if you would like to use more than one color or using some other color except for blue. Now, my favorite color is blue, so I always love to use blue. Now, if you don't want to use blue, that's okay, right? Now, you notice that originally what I did is I put in a cup of water and then also a watercolor pan in front of me. Now, if you're doing paper, I would really highly like it if you did watercolors. Now, I also understand though that sometimes we don't have watercolors and that's a bummer, right? So if you don't have watercolors or if you weren't using paper, you can still use the sketchbook app to color everything in. Or what you can do is you can use just a marker or anything. Now, if we look at my original design, we also notice that there's lots of white space, isn't there? This project is probably the only project that I will allow you to have lots of white space, but you still have to have craftsmanship where you paint. So I'm dipping in my water to my watercolor, right? And I'm very carefully painting just the lines and just the shapes that I drew yesterday. I'm not, you know, I'm not filling it all in. I'm just painting my lines and my shapes that I made yesterday. Now, what if you wanted to use other colors and if you wanted to fill it all in? That is totally okay. I would just suggest that if you do, I want you to fill it in with great craftsmanship, right? Especially since that's been something that we've been working on for quite a while, okay? Make sure that everything's filled in. Make sure you try your hardest with that. Now, if you need more water, just dip it in a little bit more and then it will be a lighter color. Remember, with watercolors, the more water you have, the lighter it looks, right? So I'm just gonna kind of fill in some of my little things here. It doesn't have to be fully, right, colored in, just like I was saying, right? And you know, since I don't want you guys to be sitting here this whole time just kind of watching me paint, I just want you guys to know that, right, you can just draw your lines. You can fill in some of your details, right? But I don't want everything to be painted in. Now, if you just throw on some paint, right, and you say, hey, I did it, do you think I'm gonna be giving you a really good creativity or craftsmanship grade? Probably not. Another thing is make sure that you do the line of the border and then also the line around the picture itself, right? Scene or picture, picture frame or border, right? And that's all that we're doing today. So I want you guys to post your picture onto Seesaw for me. Remember, you can use watercolors if you have them. If you don't, you can always use the sketchbook app, or you can post it on to Seesaw, whatever it makes you feel comfortable, okay? And that's all we're doing for today. I'm really excited to see all your beautiful paintings. I always love this project because I get to see so much creativity. And I hope you guys are doing well. I hope to see you all soon, and have fun. Bye.